If you want to understand a leader, sure, you can study their battles or their speeches. But if you really want a map of their mind, a blueprint of the world they're trying to build, you've got to look at their library. So let's explore how one leader's bookshelf literally became the foundation for a brand new nation. I mean, really think about that for a second. It's one of the biggest questions in all of history. When everything you know has completely fallen apart, where in the world do you even begin? Well, the answer for one of the most transformative figures of the 20th century wasn't just found on the battlefield. It was found right between the pages of his books. This signature, it belongs to Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of the Turkish Republic. And by exploring the, get this, nearly 4,000 books he owned, read, and scribbled all over, we're not just looking at old paper. We are looking at the actual raw materials he used to build a new country from scratch. Okay, so first things first. To replace a 600-year-old empire, Ataturk needed a new political architecture. And he didn't just invent it out of thin air. No, he went back to the source, studying the very foundations of how governments work. And here we have one of his key textbooks, Montesquieu's The Spirit of the Laws. I mean, this is a cornerstone of Enlightenment political theory. It's all about how governments should be put together. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This isn't just proof that he owned the book. It's proof of his intense focus. He's not just passively reading here. See those marks on the side? He is laser-focused on the most fundamental question of all. What kind of state are we going to be? And here it is. This is the passage he marked up, laid out right there, clear as day. A republic, a monarchy, or despotism. In these few underlines, you can practically see the decision taking shape in his mind, a choice that would change the future for millions of people. But a nation isn't just a constitution, right? It has to be defended. And Ataturk's military reading, wow. It reveals a mind that went so much deeper than battlefield tactics. He was thinking about the psychology of the individual soldier. Just look at this contrast. It's fascinating. On the left, a book called Confidence, an essay on military psychology. On the right, a straight-up manual of tactical problems. So he was studying both the heart and the mind of warfare, the morale of his troops, and the cold, hard logic of the battlefield. And this right here just sums up his entire philosophy. In his own handwriting, he notes that an officer has to first be an educator who understands the soldier as a whole person, physically, psychologically, and socially. For him, leadership wasn't just about yelling orders, it was about education. And all of this, it's building towards an even bigger picture. Because Ataturk's reading shows he wasn't just concerned with the state, he was deeply, deeply concerned with the complex, messy reality of society itself. I mean, you probably wouldn't expect to find this in a general's library, right? The Human Complaint, a book that dives into philosophy and religion, putting Jesus, Buddha, and Darwin all side by side. This just shows an incredible intellectual curiosity about the biggest questions out there. And look at the issues he was wrestling with in his other books. He marked up passages on socialism, the dangers of population growth, the right for workers to strike, even the root causes of suicide. These are not abstract theories. These are the absolute core challenges of building any modern working society. And then, tucked away among all these grand, world-changing ideas about humanity and the state, you find this, a simple, handwritten New Year's note to his mother. It's just a powerful reminder of the real person behind the historical figure. That personal touch is a perfect segue, because that incredible attention to detail, it wasn't just for his family. It's also the key to understanding one of his most sweeping and radical reforms. And that brings us to the last part of his library, the power of words. It seems like a strange question, doesn't it? I mean, with an entire country to run, why would you get lost in the origins of words? Well, because he knew that to change a nation, you first have to change the way it thinks and the way it speaks. So he starts at the very, very beginning, studying the absolute building blocks of concepts. First up, cosmogony, the origin of the entire universe. Talk about going back to first principles. Then, he's defining philosophical ideas, like athei or atheist. He's clearly exploring concepts that exist completely outside of the old imperial and religious framework. And then, he gets to a word that is just loaded with political dynamite. Dynasty, a succession of rulers from the same family. He is literally studying the definition of the very system he just finished overthrowing.
So what's the big takeaway here? This was not some academic hobby. This deep dive into the DNA of words was the intellectual R&D for one of his boldest moves ever, the total reform of the Turkish language, switching from the Arabic script to a Latin-based one and modernizing the entire vocabulary.
In the end, what Ataturk's library really shows us is that revolutions are fought with ideas just as much as they are with armies. His books weren't just a private collection, they were his toolbox for building a nation from the ground up. Which, of course, leaves us with a pretty big question for our own time. If a library really is a map to the future a leader wants to build, what do the books, or maybe the lack of them, on the shelves of today's leaders tell us about the world they're busy shaping for us?